Kisa again, here with another OC history video. Again! This time featuring the character you guys chose on my last poll, Shackles the Echidna. Now, you may notice from my video covering Trinket that I didn't say that she was my first Sonic OC. That's because Shackles was my first OC. As a kid, I always adored Knuckles, and as I got into Sonic again as a teen, Shadow was my new favorite character. So I thought combining them would be the coolest thing ever. And it was. This is how Shackles was born. And how he has the most original name ever, being a neat mashup of Shadow and Knuckles, but also a real word at the same time. Everything about him at this time was just me being creative and having fun while learning more about the series. In the beginning, I had it that Shackles was Gerald Robotnik's first attempt at making the ultimate life form, not knowing about the bio lizard, and his main power was super strength. And that was it. Other than that, his backstory was roughly, at his creation, his chaos was really unstable, which ended with Shackles being put into stasis. And after the arc fell, Shadow eventually stumbles upon his pod and wakes him up. After that, it's mostly just Shackles adjusting to life on Earth, Mobius, whichever one you want to refer to it as. One of the main focuses in Shackles' story was him learning about echidnas in Angel Island. This is where he meets Knuckles, and the two do not get along at all. They would get into frequent arguments, talk smack about one another, and even get into physical fights. All because Knuckles couldn't be convinced that Shackles was a real echidna. And that made him really angry. Through all of this, Shackles did have a ship with an ex-friend's OC, of whom I won't really name or talk about, a friend of the OC, since any of those influences are no longer part of his backstory, and I don't really like to linger on them. Now, on to this guy's personality. Shackles has always had a pretty big personality from day one. Granted, it was a bit more out of pocket whenever I was younger, but it's been surprisingly consistent through the years. He's laid back, goofy, has an amazing sense of humor, and is loyal to a fault. Shackles can also come off as kind of stupid in the way that he speaks or makes jokes, but he does it on purpose. He's the kind of guy that is aware that his looks can impact how people perceive him, and he does look quite intimidating. So he does whatever he needs to ease that tension and to make others more comfortable around him, even if it makes him look like a total nitwit. I actually only recently came to the conclusion that Shackles is a himbo, and it fits him really well. So yeah, he's a himbo, and he owns it. Now you may wonder where he is currently. Surprisingly, Shackles hasn't changed a whole lot. The main changes have been some minor alterations to his design, changing the shape of his birthmark, making his quills a bit longer, adding 2 more quills, giving him new shoes, and then changing the markings on his head. Oh, and taking away one of his claws. I never understood why I wanted him to have 3 claws. And then his backstory has changed pretty drastically. As I got older and learned more about the series, and played more of the games, the whole storyline of my Black Arms OCs changed to fit more with the actual series. Granted, what I have done has dramatically altered the storyline of the Sonic series as we know it, and it basically makes it an AU. And I will save that entire explanation for its own video. Anyway, part of Shackles' change is no longer being the first of the experiments and move to being the final one of Era 2, being created roughly 35 years before Shadow. He still has super strength as his main attribute, and his chaos is still unstable, but instead of really not affecting him, Shackles has a chronic illness coined as chaos sickness. Now, most of the failed subjects suffer from this ailment, but Shackles has it the worst of them all. If he uses any type of chaos ability, which he can for short periods, it will cause a buildup of raw chaos inside of his body that begins to manifest as bile and usually incapacitates him, which can leave him down and out for several days at a time while he recovers. So he has to use his abilities sparingly, or else it will be a detriment to his health. Though it has been learned that Chaos Emeralds can absorb the excess chaos that his body creates, and his illness is almost fully nullified when on Angel Island. Also, Shadow, Sonic, and Knuckles can passively absorb the chaos as well, and it even gives them a limited power boost. Now, without spoiling too much of my comic's future plot and side plots, I can say with delight that Shackles and Knuckles do eventually bury the hatchet and end up in a romantic relationship.
You know what that is? It's gross.
They do get married and end up having a daughter via surrogacy by their two friends, Juliana and Serena. And for the future of Shackles, I don't really think I'll change him too much. Considering he hasn't changed that much over the past 18 or so years, and has mostly become more fitting for the Sonic universe, I feel he's pretty much as good as he's gonna get. Thank you for watching this video. It was a lot of fun going back and seeing my older artworks of Shackles, and seeing how much he's grown and how much I've grown as well. Keep an eye out for my next poll of who to cover in one of these videos, and check out the link below in the description to get in on my future OC drawing video, where I will draw your Sonic OCs. I still need more submissions before I can get started on that series, so if you're interested in some free art, check it out. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.